Oh, I wanna be the one to hold you close, 'cause you're the only one I'm dreaming of. My love, my love, my love,
At date night, we like to talk, all right? So we want you guys to talk back to us. And unfortunately, we won't be able to get to all of the comments, but we're going to try to communicate with you guys or create that dialogue as much as possible.
Yeah.
If we can't, know that we love you guys and we didn't look over you. We want to try to connect everybody, but unfortunately on this platform, we can't, right?
Yep.
Right?
And if you knew,
yes.
don't be afraid to share.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we like to read the comments, and
yes,
we do
love
read them. Okay?
We do. What's up, Sharice? What's up? I
Hey,
was going to
girl.
call you Boo Boo.
Hey, Boo
But
Boo.
it's Sharice. We can call you your nickname, Boo Boo.
My cousin on here, her name's Sharice. As soon as I saw her name come up, I'm like, hey, Tiny.
Right, right. So tonight's topic is actually a question.
Yes.
And that question is to me, to you, to us. And that question is, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? Now, it's interesting how we came up with this topic because we were both inspired. I don't know if you guys joined us in the beginning, but we had a countdown with this amazing group singing their rendition of Can You Stand the Rain?
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing it on rotation. Like, this is a beast. I love it. I love the performance and all that. So I was downstairs thinking like, man, this would be a great topic because of the premise of the song and what they were talking about. And then I came upstairs and what did you say to me?
Well, when he showed me the video, I was like, oh, can you stand the rain? Like, that is good. Like, that's
No,
the
I'm talking
topic.
about after that when I came upstairs without having a conversation with you.
That's what I said. Ain't that what I said? Can you stand the rain? That would be a great topic.
You said it would be a great topic. So that's our inspiration for
Yes.
tonight. So we think that this is a good conversation. And I want to ask you personally, can you stand the rain? You know, we know in relationships, sometimes, like they say,
it be
when
raining.
it's raining, it what sometimes?
It pours.
It pours. So we want to try to minimize us from getting drenched by a lot of pressure and problems that we might deal with in relationships, right? So can you go over a little bit about the song, the song information? Tell us about the song and where it was created. You Dogs is in the building. You Thong is in the
my
house.
God, you thongs. Check it in. That is too funny. So Can You Stand the Rain was a song sang by the popular R&B group New Edition. It was released in the 1980s. I didn't say what year, in the 1980s, under MCA label from their fifth studio album, Heartbreak. The group members consist of Ricky Bell, Ronnie DeVoe,
Yeah.
Ralph Transvant, Michael Bivins, Johnny Gill, and everybody's favorite
Bobby.
Bobby Brown.
Say all you got to do, say
Johnny Gill, no, that
Johnny.
ain't Bobby
No, that's Bobby.
Brown. Earlier hits
Yes.
consist of Candy Girl, You Are My World, You Look So Sweet, You're a special treat,
What else we have?
Cool It Now, Ooh, watch out, I'm gonna fall in love.
Yeah. What else?
And Mr. Telephone Man.
Boom, 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 boom. That's it. So they were a popular group in the 80s, right?
In the 80s, yes.
So we want to do this.
Actually, they came out in 1978. I had no idea that they were actually out in 78.
Wow, they formed a group when they were babies, right?
Yeah, they were babies in
Wow, that's
1978
crazy.
when they came out.
That's-
But their greatest hits came out in the 80s.
Right. So I have a question for you guys tonight. We need some engagement. Did you guys have a favorite member or a favorite song that they sang? So is there a favorite member of the group that you like, in particular, that you just totally love, or is there a favorite song that you had? So share in the comment section. New Edition, the group New Edition, is there a particular group member that you liked or you adored or you thought, ooh, he's sexy? Or a favorite song that you
Whose
love?
poster did you have up, Siobhan?
Right. Who did you have?
Or was that not okay in our
Yes,
homes?
Mr. Telephone Man,
Mr.
Kevin. All right,
Telephone Man,
All right,
yes.
Damien, Mr. Telephone Man, Kevin, Mr. Telephone Man. Who else? Anything else? Any favorite songs?
Or
that
do
they
we got a
could-
young crowd?
Yeah, or do
tonight?
we have like Generation
we might got a young crowd out here
XYZ
tonight.
R2?
Oh, let me
Okay.
see.
We
Let me
have-
say Bobby Brown. Can you stand the rain?
Okay, we got a lot of comments
Let's
coming in here.
see.
We got Bobby Brown, Lily. Okay. Instagram.
Let's see. Siobhan said, "Can you stand
we
the
wanna,
rain?" Oh, Bobby Brown is your birthday twin. Okay.
All right, Bobby Brown. All right, Ebony. Okay. Kendra, can you stand the rain? Okay.
On every playlist.
Siobhan, like Ralph Tresvant. All right.
Johnny
Benita,
Gill. Mama.
Ralph. All right, we got K-Ron. You like Johnny Gill. If it isn't love, all right, Gwen. All right.
Oh,
Awesome.
if it isn't love, why
Candy
do it?
Girl.
Why do
All right.
it? Wait a minute. Wait. Dang, what's
Feel
the
this way. Why does she stay on my mind? There's a spammer in here.
It's okay.
No, but we can block them. We can
Block
block
'em
them.
then.
So if you guys see a particular spammer in here, it looks like they're trying to sell something, or it's clickbait. Block it if you
Just
can. All
don't
right,
click.
Johnny Gill. We got
Delicious.
Johnny Gill.
Wait. Yeah. What's delicious, baby?
I can't remember. I'm
Oh,
trying to.
I'm trying to think.
I'm gonna have to Google that after this. Kev.
I am too.
Kev, you a little older than me, man, so you got me on this
So
one.
what you trying to say?
You know,
What you out here trying to say?
See, I grew up. My era was like Jodeci, Boys to Men. It was the same era, but it was a little after, New Edition. All right, awesome. So let's get ready for the trivia,
Oh, you
guys.
are the one that set me free.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're about to get this trivia going here.
Let's
so
go.
guys, are you ready? Say I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, first question here. Let me pull up this question here.
What we got?
Read that out, babe.
What year did Can You Stand the Rain come out?
What year did Can You Stand the Rain come out?
Was it A, 1990, C, 1984, B, 1988, or D, 1986? Who reads the answers out of order?
So let's get it.
What was it, guys?
What year?
A, B,
And there's
C,
a
or
15-second
D?
delay. Okay, we got B. We got B, 1988. B,
I see y'all out here.
1988.
1988?
1988. You got C.
We got a C out here?
All right. And the answer is 1988. B.
1988.
19. We got a lot of people. What's up, David? David's in the building.
1988.
1988. Awesome. Number 2 here. Let's move on.
Number 2. What's
Number
the
2.
question?
The question is this. Uh-oh. Look, technical difficulties. Once I know how to click out of here. All right, let's see here. All right, there we go. All right, number 2. Second question here is,
How many members were there in the group?
how many members were there in the group?
Was it A, 4, B, 7, C, 5, or D, 6?
How many members were there in the group?
A,
Shoot,
B,
shoot.
or C, or D, or D.
We got 6.
A, B, or C, or D. Or
Kevin said 6. Anybody else? We got D, B, D. Let's see if you guys know your how many true New Edition fans in the building. We got 6, we got D, we got D, we got D. Any more? And 5, 4, B, 3, 2,
D.
1. And the answer is D. 6.
It was
There were
6 total
6.
members.
Yes. All right, one more question. 2 more questions
And
here.
Johnny Gill was the last.
You just messed up the whole
How did I
thing.
know that was?
Who was the last member to join the group?
Who
She
was the
just blew it.
last?
Who was the last member to join the group?
You get a car. You get a car. Who was the last member to join the group?
Who was the last member to join the
Sorry,
group?
baby.
She
I
jacked it
didn't know I
all the
jacked
way
that one
up.
all the way up. But
5 original. That's right,
original.
K-Rob.
That's right.
Benita said she's just old. I know you are. All right, we got a Johnny Gill. Kev said Johnny Gill. Lisa Johnny Gill. Gabby said Johnny Gill.
Yeah, it was Johnny, y'all.
Let's see. Yeah, she blew
It was
her.
Johnny. I blew that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Johnny Gill, and I'm messing up the stream. All right, last question. This is a bonus question,
Okay,
guys.
what
All
is
right,
it?
I'm not going to give a what do you call it?
He
the
spelled
answers.
Johnny's name wrong,
I
y'all.
did, but
Look how
that's
he spelled
okay.
it. Johnny.
All right, check
yes,
this out.
Papa.
Last one here. This is a bonus question for you're gonna win something. Here we go.
What was the first group that covered this song, Can You Stand the Rain?
No, what was the first group that covered this song? Yeah, Can You Stand the Rain?
Yes.
What was it? Not New Edition.
Not New Edition, but who was
there
the first
yeah, who's
group
the first one?
outside of
Yeah.
New Edition that actually covered the song?
Come on, guys. We need some answers here. There's a delay, so we know that it's going to take a second before it processes. Who covered the song?
Any ideas,
For
guys?
$2,000. Boyz II Men.
Boyz
Willie
II
has
Men?
said Boyz II Men. Who else? Come on, anybody else? Anybody else? Who covered the song Can You Stand the Rain after New Edition? Boyz II Men. Jeremiah said Boyz II Men. Kevin
Troop.
said Troop. Troop. Don't you
Troop-
know what?
Did Troop cover Can You Stand the Rain?
Oh my
They
goodness.
may have. Now
You
I'm
know
going to have
what?
to get on YouTube and
You
look.
guys said Troop. We said Boyz II Men. I remember Boyz II Men acapella version, but I did that off the top of my head, so I don't know who's right.
Oh, my
Everybody's
goodness.
wrong.
Oh, P. What's P, Benita?
It's the
What's
P.
P?
It's right.
Benita, what's P?
right. But awesome. If you guys are just now joining us, now we're about to get into our conversation.
All
But
right.
we love to just connect with everybody, play a few games, and just to engage because we want to have fun, right? You know, a lot of people, they're not having fun, so we wanted to bring fun to this platform. So I hope you guys enjoy. Recount.
We gonna
You know, yeah, I
recount.
need to.
We're going to recount all them
We
ballots.
need to actually do a little research because I didn't research that one. I just said
I
Boyz
feel
II
like
Men.
Kevin knows his stuff.
Kev is on top of
He
it.
is on
Janae.
top of
I
it.
think so. I think he's on top
He
of
is,
it.
Janae.
Right.
I agree.
Awesome. And if you're new here in the comment section, again, put new. Again, I'm Steve.
And I'm Toria.
And we want to welcome you to Date
Night.
Awesome. So we're going to cut this music and we're
Google
about to
it,
get
Gabby,
into
and let me
our
know.
conversation because
Let's
we got some
go.
good stuff we want to talk about, right?
What we talking about, baby?
We're talking about can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? All right. This is an interesting topic, you know, because when of course we were inspired by the video, but I think that it's very relevant. And I know that I just switched gears, but that's how we do. We switch. We don't just like slow down. We just stop. But we're going to get into our topic tonight. And the question is, can you stand the rain?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you think about the song, they had a few lyrics that I want you to quote, if you don't mind, babe.
Yeah.
Just so we can kind of just break down the premise or the whole idea behind the song. So let's talk about it.
On a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible, tell me, can you weather the storm? Because I need somebody who will stand by me. Through the good times and the bad times, she will always be right there. Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Storms will come. This we know for sure. This we know for sure.
Yes, we know for sure.
But can you stand the rain?
But can you stand the rain? And it's crazy because a lot of course, R&B songs and even country songs, they have a lot of meaning to them.
They do.
You know, and when people,
really do.
I heard that artists that they write their best material when they go through,
When they're going through.
or when they have something, their personal experience that they can put on paper. And the whole premise, do you have an idea of the premise of this song? Have you really thought about
Absolutely.
the whole premise or the idea behind? We know we quoted it, but just to give a kind of a breakdown of what they're talking about.
So Can You Stand the Rain is about a relationship that is presently going well. But the man is asking of the woman if he can count on her to remain by his side in case things should ever become stormy.
Wow, that's deep because and just to break it down even more, he's saying, look, sunny days, everybody have them. You know, when they buy you gifts, when you're communicating on a high level, when the sex life is good, you know, when you get the house, when you get the car you wanted,
Right.
when the communication, the chemistry, the connection is on point, you know, everything is wonderful. The kids are good. When you have the money, you got the cars, you know, you're just connecting on all levels. We know that everybody have those, right?
Right, right.
But what happened to when you can't buy the purse? You know, when the communication isn't on point, when the rain is there, when the storms are there, can you still love me? Can you still, you know, look me in the eye and say, I'm with you?
Right.
Can you, or will you leave me? Or what will be your reaction to the problems or whatever we might be dealing with?
Right.
So the whole idea behind the song was extremely deep because unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have this idea about relationships that they're myths or they're misconceptions. So when they get into like a marriage or romantic relationship, when problems or the sunny days are over and you have those cloudy ones, their reaction is to run or their
Right.
response because they don't understand what marriage or true relationships are all about.
Right.
So I want to talk about some of the myths that we have in relationships. And one of the myths about relationships is that you're always going to have sunny days.
Ooh.
You're always going to have sunny days.
Facts.
And people may look at us and might say, oh, you know, marriage goals, whatever, marriage goals. You know, and
No,
it's
really.
it's a beautiful thing to feel like you have something that's mature. And I believe that we do.
Mm-hmm.
However, every day isn't, we don't have sunshine every day, do we?
No, and that's not possible.
It's a
to
myth.
have sunshine
Right.
every day because we don't wake up feeling our best every day. So
Right.
how is it a guarantee that you're gonna have sunshine every day? You know, some days you wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
Right,
and
right.
just might be in a bad mood, you
Right.
know. And that may cause us a little bit of weather.
Right. And we need to embrace our humanity to know that when two people come together, that there's going to be friction when you have two different personality types, two different backgrounds, different family dynamics, different psychology or perceptions about a lot of things. We've been through hurts and pains. You know, we had good times and bad times. So when you come together, you're going to have friction sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I want to encourage everybody. When you look at people and you see images on Facebook, I'm not saying that it isn't real because people do have great relationships.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's just a snapshot. That's just a moment in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not realistic, right? Right. And the second thing, babe, is that there's a such thing as a perfect relationship.
Ooh.
There's a
Have
such.
you ever seen one?
I've never have.
I've never seen a perfect relationship.
Right. So
Like ever, and I've seen plenty of relationships. There's so many married couples in my family that have been married for, you know, many a years.
right.
And even with them being married, you know, some of them 40 plus years, it ain't been perfect.
Right.
You know, they've weathered, you know, numerous of storms, and they've made it to the other side, and they, you know, were able to overcome a lot of different things, but they were never perfect.
Absolutely. I've
know?
never ever. And another one, honey, is that healthy relationships comes natural.
Oh,
Healthy
really?
relationships come natural. And no, there's a development process. There's a process of becoming and learning the person that you're with. And a lot of times we think that we know the person that we are with, but no, live with them 3, 5, 15, 20.
Yeah.
You know, there's a constant revolution or evolution.
Evolution,
I'm sorry.
yeah, it is.
Yes, yes, and you think that you know them, but that's where we're an advocate for premarital counseling or getting a mentor to help you understand that the person that you're getting into a committed relationship with, right?
Right, absolutely, I agree with
So
that.
it's very important to know that even if you're going through, don't be discouraged because they don't exist. Mature relationships exist. Mature relationships do exist, but perfect ones don't. And we have a lot of different comments here, which are great. K-Ron says, so true, but be encouraged because plants still grow in the storm. Bro, you all in our
Absolutely.
conversation tonight, but that's
They
absolutely right.
absolutely do.
Absolutely. And Benita said this as well. Some storms are to make the relationship stronger. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You guys are all in our Kool-Aid right now. But the last one, babe, is that conflicts only stem from behavior of the spouses.
Oh,
Or
wow.
the drama or friction or problems that you're having only consist of you two. But the reality is that there are
Yeah.
outside sources
There are so
that
many.
actually influence or that can infiltrate your union and cause disruption.
Absolutely.
Right?
You have all type of outside influences that can interrupt your flow
Yeah.
in your relationship, whether
Absolutely.
it be, you know, nosy in-laws.
Ooh-wee.
You know,
That's a whole nother date night there.
your children.
Yes.
You know, outside children, grown children, friends.
Absolutely.
You know, working relationships, careers. Like
Right.
there's so many things that can hinder a relationship or can cause friction in a relationship. And a lot of times people only think like there can only be friction in our relationship if it's just between us. And it's
Right.
like, no, because there are so many outside influences that we have to deal with
Right.
every single day. You talk to your mom and have a conversation with her, you share the wrong thing, she say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's an outside opinion
Right.
that you have allowed into your relationship that might penetrate your mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
That might cause you to go back to your spouse and say something that maybe you shouldn't have said.
Absolutely.
You know, so there are a lot of outside influences that can
cause it.
can definitely cause
And a lot of
friction
times
in
we
your
think that
relationship.
the conflict, a lot of things can be resolved if we just keep people out of our business.
Ooh.
If we close the door and honor our union. However, there are times to where you need people to be involved
Yeah.
if it's too big for you.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about there are levels, and we're going to talk about that later to reign. You know,
Absolutely.
so you just got to use wisdom on who you're going to allow into your world and know or understand or be aware that they're going to judge you, be aware that they have biases, and be aware that when you do open up to people, it can actually be traumatic sometimes. So you got to be very careful. And that's right, Janae. Janae said the healthiest marriages are continually perfecting their relationship.
That's right.
Absolutely,
That's
100%.
right. And you never
Yes.
coast it, right? It's
Right.
like, oh, we're coasting, we're fine. Like, no, you have to always
Cultivation is growth,
Yes.
learning. It's a growth process, right?
cultivation
Yes.
is the word. Just like we cultivate everything else,
Mm-hmm.
like we invest our money in 401ks,
Yes.
right? For the future.
Yeah.
Right? We invest in health insurance for the future just in case we perhaps get sick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So continually investing
right, Damien.
in your relationship is something that you should do on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
To make sure that you're cultivating that union, that you're
Yeah.
cultivating oneness,
Right.
wholeness, you know, so that you guys are always on the same page. Now, you know, it ain't always, but that
Right,
you're
right.
on the same page more often.
You are,
than
like they
not.
say, on one accord, if you will.
Yes.
You know, being
Right.
unified and being on the same path.
Being on the same path.
You know,
right.
the pace might be a little different,
Right.
you know, as it pertains to certain areas of your
and
life.
that's okay.
But have the same outcome desires or have the same target. You know, be partners, which we talk about a lot. You know, so conflict, they do come from outside. And
agree with that.
there's something I just want to really encourage people about, you know, because we know in relationships we have problems. And sometimes people get so overwhelmed and they have this pressure, especially newlyweds, when you don't get along. They're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, man, just look, don't worry. Those are little things, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of pressure comes on people when they say marriage and when they think, oh, I'm about to walk down this aisle.
Right. Like all of a sudden the
Oh,
weight come
no.
on your shoulder.
You know, but we got to release that
weight come
psychology and know that if you're prepared and to know that you have a willingness to succeed and you have the mindset to succeed and you're going to do what you need to do on your part, you can actually get to where you need to go, right?
I agree with that.
But there's a key. There's a key, guys, that you need to know is that a little rain is good, right?
Yes.
A little rain is good. It's good for nature and it's
Yes.
also good for human nature. What
It
does it
is.
do, babe? Just the rain. You have anything about?
Yeah, well, one, rain purifies. You know, it purifies us. It allows different things to be released into the elements so that
Right.
we can breathe better.
Stress relief.
You know,
stress.
it relieves stress.
Yeah.
You know, it actually, I know a lot of times people are like, man, the rain makes me depressed, but it actually releases something into the atmosphere that
Refreshes
does
the air.
the opposite of what we think we're feeling.
Right.
Because it's releasing oxygen and all of those things into the air and into the atmosphere that we can breathe in to make us feel better.
And be better. That's
right?
why a little rain or a little friction in your relationship is not bad at all.
Right.
Because number one, it shows you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, if you're prayerful and if you're self-aware, it shows you who you are.
Who you are, yeah.
You know, and it helps. And also when you
It helps the way you see things.
it helps
too.
the way you see things and you get things off of your chest. Have you ever like just told somebody how you feel? And that's all you wanted, is to tell them how you felt, and hope in hopes that they would listen to you. So rain, it actually purifies and it relieves stress. So just like using that, you can use that metaphor in a relationship or in human nature, to where when you're able to get things off of your chest, you're able to get that release.
Right.
Because a
That
lot
was
of
good.
people, machines that don't vent will explode.
Right.
And they get hot.
Yep.
Right. So having that dialogue, and sometimes heated dialogue or aggressive dialogue, is healthy, as long as you're doing it in a respectful manner, so that you could get the outcome that you really want. Right.
Yep. I
Right. So
agree with
rain
that.
isn't bad, right?
No, rain is
If
not
you
bad.
believe that rain isn't bad, can I get an amen in the comments section? Can I get an amen? Absolutely. Benita, and that was another thing that we wanted to talk about, that it brings growth.
It does.
Rain makes things
Rain
grow.
makes things grow.
So how could you grow without pressure? Think about it. People in the gym. If you lift 2 weights, you're not going to grow. Your muscles aren't going to grow. But there's a process of tearing. When pressure comes, it tears the old muscles and it gets you stronger. So the more you have the pressure on you, the more you build up those muscles to be able to lift more.
Yep.
And they have this thing called strength training. And I'm not a personal trainer, but they have these things. Awesome. They have this thing in physical fitness, to where they call it strength training. And I'm sure you guys know endurance training or strength training, to where they work up your strength. So the rain helps strengthen our relationship.
Yeah, and what does it say? April shower brings May flowers.
Yes.
It does. It helps things to grow. It
Yes.
matures things. It allows things to sprout.
Yes.
Things that are necessary when it rains. Because after the rain goes, then the sun comes out again, and then things start to grow and mature like they should,
Absolutely.
because they were nourished
Yes.
during the rainy season.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, babe. There's levels to this, when you think about it. But if you think about just rain, period, of course we said that it can be very beneficial, but it can actually be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Too much rain can be unhealthy, right? Right. And it can be unhealthy when you're ill prepared for it.
Ooh.
When you're not ready for rain, and when you're ill prepared, it's kind of like if you go outside, you don't look at the forecast. Normally, if you look at the forecast, you would get what?
An umbrella.
An umbrella, and you get maybe a raincoat, and some of you guys would get a bag. These ladies, remember old school, they used to put the bags like, I ain't getting my hair wet, to protect your hair from the rain. So it's unhealthy when you're not prepared for
Yeah,
it.
when you're
and
ill-prepared,
unfortunately, when people get into relationships, they have this mindset that everything is going to be perfect.
Right.
And they don't prepare for the friction or the conflict, or they don't get the knowledge that they need in order to solve problems.
Right.
Right.
That's like, ladies, we wouldn't go to the beauty salon in the middle of a thunderstorm, knowing that it's raining or it's drizzling outside, and knowing that more than likely it's probably going to be pouring when we come out.
Right.
Without having an umbrella or a raincoat,
Yeah.
and parking very close to the door so that we don't have to run through the rain to get to the car.
Right.
So we're prepared for the situation, right?
Right.
We're prepared. We've accounted for everything that we need. Plus, I'm not spending a whole bunch of money on my hair for it to be ruined
Right.
in the rain.
Right. So that shows you that when you're not prepared for the rain, it could cost you. Right? It can get you sick. You can get the flu. You can get pneumonia. You'll find yourself in the hospital because you were not prepared for what's to come.
Right.
Right? So it's important that you get prepared. Another
Yeah.
thing is that it's unhealthy when it's not dealt with. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's unhealthy when it's undealt with, as well as when it's consistent.
Oh, when the
When the
pouring
problems,
consistently.
when there's constant fighting, when there's constant disrespect, when there's constant arguing, there's constant friction, there's constant dishonor, lack of trust, rejection, infidelity, all these things, when it's consistent, it is very unhealthy.
It is.
Rain is healthy in itself, but too much of it can cause a flood, which David just said here, and you're in my head,
Yes.
because that's exactly what we wanted to
Yep.
convey today, that it can actually cause a major flood.
Can cause major flood
Absolutely,
damage.
absolutely.
Major flood
Yes,
damage.
major.
Especially if you're not prepared.
Yeah,
And it just keeps pouring and keeps pouring, and you didn't consider that it was raining and that the rain was going to turn into a storm.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and look, there has to be balance, absolutely. And there's so many comments, and we're going to get to you guys if we can. Another thing is that when you think about rain, there are actually levels to rain. Just to think about it, and break it down, you have sprinkles.
Yep.
And if you think about sprinkles are the little things. The stuff that's like, man, why we tripping over that? Like you being spoiled right
Dallas
now,
was
right?
actually tripping over you going outside this morning without an umbrella. He was like, is it raining outside? Because the news said it was going to rain and Daddy doesn't have a raincoat. He's going to get soaked.
Right.
And he's carrying all of his equipment. That's what he said this morning. He was like, I need you to check and see when it's supposed to rain because
Wow.
his equipment is going to get wet if he doesn't cover it up. And I'm
Right.
like, dang, son, you were thinking about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's
My
like,
man.
yeah, he was thinking about that though. He thought more into it's just gonna rain. No, it's gonna rain, and he's carrying things, and then they're gonna be ruined, right?
Right.
So-
And normally before you go outside, you check the forecast.
Right.
And that's why we need to check for those that are single. You need to know who you're getting into the bed with.
Ooh.
You need to know who you're getting into the relationship.
Check that forecast,
You
y'all.
know, because you get into a situation where you want out. You wasn't prepared. You didn't know what you were getting into. So that's a nugget. So be patient and know that if you've been praying or you've been hoping for a spouse or a partner that your better half, just wait, right? Because you deserve the best.
Right.
And a lot of times
I
when we
agree.
rush, we compromise, right?
Yeah,
So we don't
absolutely.
want to rush. So there's levels. There's sprinkles and there's rain. Right? Rain is just the regular everyday things. You know, I
Right.
think. Just the, little this and that, but nothing serious. But then you have the storms. Now, storms are pretty heavy. Storms could, sometimes those storms in our relationships can turn into moments, sometimes weeks, and sometimes seasons. I know some of you guys out there, you've had moments to where you've been with your spouse or your partner and you have moments of hell. I mean, not just a few days, but you had weeks, and that's a terrible situation to be in, right?
Right.
And that's not healthy for your relationship. And that's when things become unhealthy. I said healthy. That's when the rain becomes unhealthy, when you
Right.
have too much of it, right?
Right.
Right? And you can cause a Hurricane Katrina, right, in your life.
Ooh.
Right? You remember Hurricane Katrina?
I do. I remember what was that, like 2005, right? I remember watching the news in 2005 and watching how hopeless everyone was because they were ill prepared for the hurricane, right? Don't you remember sitting down watching and feeling hopeless because it was nothing that anybody could do?
Right.
It was people sitting on top of their rooftops waiting on, boats to come and pick them up, and, people with their dogs and their children trying to, make it to land, and sadly, what was it? 800,000 people
Yeah,
lost their homes.
over 800,000 people lost their homes.
And over 1,836 people lost their lives to Hurricane Katrina because they were ill prepared because they had been through it before.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal. It's just a little storm,
Right.
but not knowing that underneath all of the water that the levees couldn't handle it anymore because they had so much rain for so much time, that it could no longer stand, and it broke.
Right. And these levees, they broke in it, and people that invested their lives into their homes,
Yeah.
into all of their properties, their cars, their families, their memorabilia, everything. Nothing was salvageable.
Nothing.
So all of these people had to evacuate
Yeah.
and go to a whole nother unknown place or with family in different states because they were not prepared for what's to come.
Because, yeah.
Not just the people, but the government or the systems
Like nobody
that were
was
there. Nobody was
prepared,
prepared
right?
because
Nobody
they're
was
like,
prepared.
we have these storms, nothing this traumatic has ever happened.
Yeah.
We should be okay.
It's like been here before.
yeah. They were scared of the storm, but they didn't know how
been here before.
deep it was, right?
We'll board the windows up,
Right.
just like some of us do in our relationships.
Right.
Been here before. It's just a lack of communication. Eventually, he'll come around.
Right, right.
Been here before. It's just a little infidelity. Eventually,
Yeah.
she'll come around.
Ooh-wee.
Been here before. It's just a little disrespect. He ain't gonna think nothing of it because I always give him this action. You know what I'm
Wow,
saying?
wow.
And here we are ill prepared for the amount of rain that we have poured on our relationship or on our spouse, the
Yes.
amount of rain that has just poured into our home, and all of a sudden the levees break and we're destitute.
Right. And for those that are in a relationship, is it worth losing everything that you built. You know, we have to learn how to be mature and deal with these hurricanes before they come.
Yeah.
Because this little rain, there's a progression.
Yeah.
You know, it gets bigger. If you think about a hurricane, I believe in tornadoes, I guess when they travel, they get bigger, right? Or they get worse sometimes. And if we don't deal with the little rain that we think that's little, because a lot of times we minimize and normalize the issues that we're having. And before you know it, you wake up in the morning and your wife say, I'm done. You know, like R. Kelly said, and I don't really mess with your boy R. Kelly no more, but he did say this: when a woman's fed up, Mama told you a long time ago.
Yeah. Or it's like that leak in the roof.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a leak, right? At first it just starts in the kitchen. It's just that little drip. It's just a little drip. It's just a little drip. Every day it's just a little drip.
Right.
It's annoying. It's nagging. It's irritating. I'm tired of hearing the drip, but it's just a little drip.
Yeah.
It's just a little
Ooh-wee.
drip. But you didn't went through seasons of little drips.
Yeah.
You didn't went through years of little drips all because you refuse to have somebody come out and look at the roof.
Yeah.
And then one day you lying in bed and it collapse on you.
Right. And not just that, babe, but water. If you put a water over a rock, and if that thing drip consistently and you come back years later, it will create a dent.
It'll create a dent.
An
in that
imprint.
rock. Yep.
So the smallest thing in your lives can create big or great damage if we're not dealing with it.
Right.
And unfortunately, we don't realize, especially those with kids, we don't realize if we're forever consistent with our drama or our pain or our frustrations, and everybody pays, like Katrina. You know, it wasn't just the people
was good.
Everybody in the community paid for the rain.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody that was in where was it?
Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
It wasn't, if you did, it wasn't about the white man, the black man, the Chinese man,
No.
how big you were,
No.
how wonderful you are.
How
Yes.
great your home was on top of the hill.
Yeah.
You know, what kind
Right.
of car you drove,
Yeah.
or everybody was in the same situation.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
the rain took out
Everybody.
everything.
And that's
what it does in our relationships, you know, because what happens is our children pay for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, our families pay for
Even
it.
generationally, our children's children sometimes, because we adopt or we reproduce after our own kind. You know, if
Absolutely.
there was a lot of drama and friction in our home, if that's what you've seen, a lot of abuse, unfortunately, it's common that people will follow that cycle.
Right.
Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, people do overcome. People do persevere. But for the majority follows the yellow.
Yeah.
Follows
Yeah.
suit, the yellow brick road. You go down that same path that your daddy and your mom did. So we have to learn. We have to understand that if we're in a relationship, that we need to prepare more, and we have to, try to just do better. Try to solve the problems that we're having.
Right.
And just kind of minimize some of the issues or that we're having, and get some help. Right.
And not sweep them under the rug.
Right.
Because oftentimes what we do is we sweep things under the rug, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say we pretend like they don't exist, but we kind of do pretend as if certain things don't exist, because we just like sweep it under there. Don't, hurry up. The company coming. Just put it underneath there, and then we get back to it later. And then later never comes. And then we open up the closet or we lift up the rug, and it's like a whole lot of mess that we weren't prepared to deal with, because we had swept it under there for so long.
Absolutely.
So I think it's so important to recognize when we're in a storm, recognize when we need to take shelter from the storm, and just be better prepared.
Absolutely. And we have a comment here. Jeremiah says, you have to ask yourself this question: because of lack of preparation, are you ready for the collateral damage it can bring? Absolutely, brother.
And oftentimes we're not.
We don't ask ourselves those
we're
questions
not.
because we're all in love. It's the euphoria.
Yeah. And then we think like, oh, we're going to just have sex. We're going to have sex, right? I'm going to give them some real good. You know what I'm saying?
That's just the Band-Aid.
And then we didn't resolve anything, you
Yeah.
know, so we go another few months, unresolved issues, another few months, unresolved issues, because he beating it up, or you giving it to him, you throwing it back,
No, you're
it's
right.
the truth, though.
No, you're
It's the
absolutely
truth.
right.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so we do that in our relationships oftentimes. Like, that's going to solve the problem. Honey, sex doesn't solve anything.
No, it does not.
he's gonna release regardless of if you give it to him or not. Like he got a hand.
Hold
You
on,
do too.
This is
I'm sorry,
PG.
I digress. No, I didn't. But it's the truth.
It's real talk, though.
It
It's
is
real
the
talk.
truth. Like sex ain't gonna solve it. Like
Mm-hmm.
sex doesn't. It might make him smile for a little while, but it don't solve the issues that you got going on. It just sweeps it under the rug. So
Absolutely.
it's better to deal with them.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. It is.
It's better to call A1 Roofing or
No, and
you know, something like that to for somebody to come out and fix it so that the leak doesn't
that it'll
keep
get
dripping.
better. Right, right. And if you think about those people, I remember there's an image in my head,
Uh-huh.
of Katrina when there were people on the roof,
Mm-hmm.
you know, waiting for boats to come and save them.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for, you know, and you saw all these people, these heroes rescuing dogs, cats,
Yeah.
animals, old people, young people. It didn't discriminate. It was not racist. Hurricane Katrina was not racist. It
Right.
was neutral. It did not discriminate. And problems do not discriminate. I
Right.
don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care what you are.
Right.
Problems and storms do not discriminate. So we're going to all have them. And one of the most unfortunate things, especially for men, and I want to holler at the men for a minute. A lot of times we know that we're about to die, but we're not willing to get on that boat. We're not willing. We will stand on that rooftop, but we won't allow ourselves to have the dignity and release the pride to get some help. You know, and we're on that roof. No, we got to get, if you're having
Sitting
issues
there.
in your relationship, it's okay. It makes you more of a man.
We don't need
to say,
no
you know
help.
what? We need a little help. This isn't working.
We got
I want to
this.
save my relationship. I want to save my marriage. Hey, I need that boat to come my way. Because if you don't, you're going to die. And a lot of times we take for granted the people that we have in our lives. We take for granted the patience that they have for us. We take for granted because we've been together 10, 20, 15 years that they're going to be there forever.
Ooh, that's
but
good.
once those kids are gone, it's like, you know what? I'm good.
Right.
Now I'm sleeping with the 21-year-old administrator at my job
Right.
because he's nice to me.
Right.
You know, he takes me out, or I'm with this woman because she respects me.
Right.
You know, I'm with this older woman or whatever it might be. Now we've built this legacy. We had our children. We had three homes. We got a career. We got businesses. But you know what? It's over with after all that.
Yeah.
Because we didn't deal with the issues that
Right.
we had, right?
And
So we
that's
can't have the
hard.
pride, right?
Right. That's so true. Wow, that was good, honey.
So-
I really appreciate you sharing that because that's good. Because a lot of times, you know, men, you guys you'll sit there like, nah, we good. We don't need no help.
Yeah, and that's
you
pride.
know?
It's our ego because we're fixers. We were created to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
We were created to protect. So when we have to say, look, I need help, that triggers vulnerability, which is defined in the hood as weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So we feel weak when we have to open up and say, you know what? I need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody help me? But you're really gaining great strength. It shows
Yeah.
great strength because you're showing not just strength in yourself, but it shows your dedication to your union and the person that you're with as well.
And it triggers something inside of her that respects you more.
Yeah.
That makes her honor you more. It makes her
Absolutely.
appreciate you more because you're willing to go the extra mile. You're willing to fight.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it ain't always what you can give me. It's what can you invest in us?
Yeah.
You know, what will you give? Like what will you invest
That's right, CJ.
that's going to make you do something outside of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard for men to go to counseling. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, it is.
So if a man is willing to go, he's really vulnerable and he's really ready to give of
Yeah.
himself. And I really appreciate you saying that because a lot of times men don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But men, when you are willing to do that, it unlocks so
Mm-hmm.
much grace.
Yeah, and if
Like in her for you.
and in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because we have so much stress because we don't have a venting or ventilation systems. We don't have an outlet. When we with our homies, we talk about sports. We talk about everything else. You know, but when women get together, you like, look, girl, he treated me this. I don't like
he
such
done
and
got on
such.
my last
So
nerve.
you have that outlet, right? But men, we don't have that outlet. So I want to encourage you men out there that if you need some help, man, if it's storming in your marriage, if there are hurricanes and you're ready to evacuate, don't evacuate until you get some help, right?
That's right.
Don't run from the issues. If you got to run to God or the universe or whatever you believe, you got to run to your pastor, to somebody that's credible and that supports your union. You need to do that, but you got to really want it, right?
You gotta really, really.
You got to
want
really
it.
want it,
Yeah,
and that
you do.
shows that you're a true man and you're dedicated to your family. However, I'm not implying if you have something terrible, you know that it's been just crazy drama, you're killing one another. That's a different topic,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's a big.
But
That's
I'm talking
a
about
huge
Yes.
difference. Yeah,
Yes.
because if it's something completely terrible and it's not even salvageable anymore, then you guys got to figure out if it's best to just go your separate ways,
Right.
Right. But if you guys are both willing to get into the fight and figure it out and get them pail buckets and and scoop your way out, then go for it.
Right.
Go for it, and don't let nobody tell you not to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't open up the door or the window for nobody else to come in and be like, y'all gonna die in there if y'all don't
Right.
get out.
Right, and that's their situation.
You know?
And here's another myth, babe, is that it's not fixable. No. If you're willing to fix whatever it is in your relationship, I don't care if it's infidelity.
Yes.
I don't care what it is. If you two have a willingness and the heart and the work ethic to make this thing and the patience to make this thing work, it can work, y'all. So that's a myth. Oh, we done did too much damage. You can't. No, you just gave up.
Ain't no coming back
You've
from it.
accepted the defeat, or you fell out of love and you've decided to not continue.
Right.
But if you have the willingness to stay and do whatever it takes to make that thing amazing again, it can be restored.
It definitely
but
can.
Here's the thing, we're not willing to do that because it's too hard. But guess what? The pain that we put one another through, that was hard too. So why not go ahead and work hard at doing something positive, right?
Or what? Experience the same pain with somebody else
Right.
10 years later? I
Yeah.
mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you only gonna go away and do the same thing because you didn't learn the lesson, you just moved on to the next person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If that's all you're going to do, then by all means, just get on up out of there and do what you're going to do. But if you know that it is worth fighting for, then you get in there and you fight.
Right.
And you fix it.
But here's the thing, babe. It's going to take, I don't want to say unreal, but tremendous, like your boy Trump says, beautiful behavioral change
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and extreme patience and work. But you got to have the fight in you. If you don't have the fight in you, you won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
However, it is salvageable, right?
is.
You can
Yeah,
save the
absolutely.
things, you know. So that's a nugget for a man, right?
You just put on them raincoats, guys.
Right,
Just
put 'em on.
Put them raincoats on.
Put
and
them on, man.
Get you some buckets and scoop y'all way out.
Right, because
That's
there's
all.
nothing really out here.
No.
So if you find something special, and if you built something amazing with somebody, or if you built something that might be mediocre, you can build on top of that thing.
Or if you're building,
Or if
and
you're
you may
building.
not have built yet. If
Yes.
if you're in the middle of building something, or if you're in the beginning stages of building something, if you know in your heart of hearts and in your mind that this thing is going to be beautiful
Yeah.
when we're done, then you keep building.
Keep building.
If you believe in what you're building, keep building.
Yeah.
What was that movie? If you build it, they will come. I forgot, what was it? Field of Dreams or whatever it was called. But seriously, like, your testimony will bring people to you. Your testimony, of overcoming and being victorious will bring others to you, and
Right.
they will come and they will ask, "Hey, how did you guys do it? How did you get over it? How did
Right.
y'all figure this out?" And then your testimony will help others overcome. So you just got to know that it's worth it in the
Yeah,
end.
absolutely.
You got to see the goal, you
Yeah.
know, you got to see the outcome. Sometimes we start in the beginning, and all we see is the wedding, and we never envision a life,
Oh man, that's a whole nother date night there.
you know?
Absolutely.
Like, you really have to envision a life
Yeah.
with that person, because if you only envision the wedding, you stop there.
Yeah. And because we don't think bigger. A lot of times when people get married, that's why we're not attracted to our spouses like we used to be. That's why we're not as happy as we used to be. And I'm guilty. It's because we get what's the word? I don't know.
Complacent?
Complacent, right? And we get comfortable and we don't grow. We stop doing the things that we used to do.
Yeah.
But you can actually grow in your relationship. You can have more romance than you did when you wasn't together. You know, y'all was sleeping together, having a good sex life when you wasn't married, but now you're married, y'all don't even do it no more.
Right.
But that thing can be rekindled,
Did
right?
you say do it?
Do it. Yeah, bone, whatever you.
What?
I don't know. Whatever you get your grind, bumping ground. What is it? A new
Shut
word
up.
for
Just
it?
shut up. Just shut up.
No, I don't want to say the other word.
Okay. Okay.
No, but we can rekindle that, right? Right.
Absolutely. I
So let's
agree with
move on
that.
because we only got a few more minutes here, but we want to thank you guys for your patience and we believe in you. You know, so look, it's. I hope they're getting value from this.
Listen, can we stand the rain? Like, yeah, we can stand the rain. Can we stand the storm?
Can we-
Can we
yeah.
stand the hurricane?
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to stand the storm. I can stand the rain because I know the rain probably only going to last a few hours and then the sun is going to come out again, right?
Yeah.
But then what about the storm? Because that's what he should have said. Can you stand the storms? Right? Like, because it's going to be storms.
Absolutely.
Sometimes storm season
Oh, man.
will take place.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you might live there for a while.
Right.
You know? And that's not to say like it's over because you living in the middle of a storm.
Right.
It's all about what you do to dig your way out of that storm, what you do to create sunshine and good days while you're in
Yeah.
the middle of that storm. Because we all done had a few storms. Like we all have. We are all like, and we're all going to continue to have storms.
Because we're all
Like,
growing. We're human beings.
yes,
right?
we're human beings. Like we're bound to have a storm at some point. We're bound to
absolutely.
have a rainy day
Yeah,
or a rainy season.
we have moments. Absolutely.
You know, at some time. You know, and we just got to know like I'm in it to win it. Though.
I mean, you got to make a decision,
Right.
And that's what we kind of talked about. 3 gems that
Mm-hmm.
can elevate your relationship, and one of those was partnership.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you become true partners, not sex partners, true partners,
Right.
and everything that you do, you can accomplish so much.
Right.
So, but you got to get on one accord. You got to not think the same, but have one mindset pertaining to your relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we think differently. We can disagree, but we still got to make a decision to hit our goal. You know, we still got to
And
we got to
that
be
is
on the
not
right
a
path, right?
competition.
So you got to be partners.
Like we got to
Right.
be partners.
Got to be
Like,
partners.
There's no competition in us being partners. Like
Right.
we on the same team.
Yeah, yeah.
The
If you
goal
lose,
is-
I lose,
yeah,
right?
like the goal is for us to win.
Yeah.
The goal is for the family to win. The goal is for us to succeed.
Absolutely.
The goal is for us to make it to the end where we want to see ourselves, where we want to be, right? We
Yeah.
want to live in that place where we desire, you know, and that's the goal. The goal is not to be like, let me sabotage how he getting there
Absolutely,
because he
Alicia.
think he about to get there before I get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no sabotaging in this because if I sabotage
That's right,
him,
Damien.
I sabotage us.
Right.
If he sabotages me, he sabotages us.
Right.
And us is just not us. It's
Right.
it's all
Yeah,
of
we're
us.
a
All
team.
5 of us.
If the team loses, we all lose.
we all lose. And it
If
wasn't
she
like
get injured, the team could lose.
it
If I
wasn't
get
like
injured,
we lost, but I had a good game though.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's how selfish leaders or
You know
people
what
with
I'm
selfish ambitions think.
I scored 72 though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they really lost.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
did my job. But it's not an I in it. You know what I mean? And we can't compete with one another. Because
Absolutely.
the bottom line is we are a team. And the only way we're gonna make it is if we team together.
Absolutely. So we're gonna read this comment, baby. We're transitioning to our last just idea about this whole can you stand the rain metaphor. So Tara
She
posts
says,
yes.
the thing is, rain comes in all seasons. We never think it rains in December, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
We have to continue to prepare and know that the rain will come.
Rain will come. Absolutely.
It will come.
Absolutely. And this is I'm a team player for
Yes,
life. Absolutely. America William
yes.
Smith.
Like
Absolutely.
a team player
Yes, you gotta
for
be. And look, be
life.
single though. If you're
you're not,
just
be
be single.
single.
And it's okay,
It's okay.
to be single
It's
and
okay.
selfish.
Yep, it's
just don't
okay.
get married and don't have no babies. Like if you feel like you want to do the Oprah Winfrey, it's nothing wrong
Ain't
with
nothing
that.
wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
do
that.
Your,
like
do your thing, baby.
Yeah,
Don't-
do it.
Ain't
Absolutely.
nobody, because you ain't got to be in a relationship.
right.
But if you choose to be in a relationship, be a partner to your spouse.
you have to.
Like, be a partner to your spouse so that y'all can win together because this team ain't nothing if we ain't on one accord.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to share these just some tips. You know, we can't just talk about an issue eating. People, people hate the talking about me because I don't really eat the food, but I'm gonna start eating the food a little bit here. But we want to give you guys some takeaways because we just don't want to just talk about an issue or give metaphors, stories, and all that. But we want to give some people some practical things to think about and also some steps that can help them in their relationship. And I want to talk about, before we get up out of here, just some of the things that would determine your survival.
Yes, Damien.
And the win. What did Damien say?
Win, 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 win in my DJ Khaled voice.
There we go.
For real.
There we go. We the best. We the best.
We.
Right. Not
We the
I'm the
best.
best. We the best, right? All right, check this out. What will determine your survival? And there are 4 things here real quick. Number 1 is your perspective. Your perspective. What will determine your survival in the hurricane, okay? And that is your perspective. How do you perceive, or what is your mindset toward marriage and relationships? What do you think about it? About problems? What do you think about it?
Yeah, about the storm.
About the storm. How do you perceive it? Do you think positively, like we will overcome this?
Right.
Or do you think like this is too hard for me
It's too
to
much.
overcome? Or do you think about, what, this is just a marital issue. We're going to get through this.
Right.
So if you're not optimistic, or if you don't have a good perspective or perspective pertaining to marriage or relationships, and you don't think that is valuable, you're going to lose, right?
Yeah, because you're going to
Right.
quit.
You're going to quit.
Because you're going to quit because your mindset is already there to quit.
Absolutely.
Because your perspective is like, oh, we ain't going to win anyway.
Yeah.
This too hard.
This is too hard.
This too much.
My mama didn't make it, so we're not going to
Right.
make it.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
not
my
worth
goodness.
saving.
Oh my God.
I can get somebody else.
Oh my God. And then finding our self-worth in what we saw other people do, say, be,
Right.
or whatever. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and measuring ourselves up to that.
Yeah.
That has a
That's
lot
very
to
good.
do with if we're going to fight to
Yeah.
win. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if mama didn't fight to win, I can just I'll be fine. I'll
Right,
just
right.
leave
She
'em.
said, "Don't let no man." That's a bad mindset. And
Yes.
even checking out people on Facebook, we look on people on Facebook
Oh,
and be like,
my-
"I can't." You know what? This isn't working because we're not like them. What do you mean you're not like them? That's just the moment. Everybody has issues and things that they need to
Yeah.
overcome. We're not gonna share all of our I just beat my wife last night on Facebook. Like, I cheated 3 times.
Whooped her up real
right,
good.
Right. Oh yeah, I just spent all my man's money and whatever. Yeah,
Ain't nobody- well,
nobody's
it
gonna
is
do
a-
that.
it might be
There
some folks out
are
here
some
doing
crazy
that. I don't
people
know.
like, I hate him and he hate me. Then the next day you back together and everybody
so
judging you on
dumb.
Facebook. But whatever. So you have to have the
Good
right
perspective.
a mindset, not just about marriage, but also about problems,
Yeah.
yourself and your partner. Because if you have the mindset that they're not valuable enough for you to fight for, then you're going to lose. If you feel like
Or you're
you're
gonna
a
quit.
failure and you have self-esteem issues, or feel like I've been married once, twice, 3 times, and now there's a problem in front of me, or there's a storm. Now I'm going to run because I'm never going to be
Right, it's
anything.
too big. I can't
I'm a
handle
failure.
it.
So perception is everything, right?
It is.
It's
That's good
there's a
stuff,
lot.
yeah.
And another thing, babe, which I know you can really hit on, is our reaction. So you have your perspective, and then number 2, what would determine your survival is your reaction to the rain, the storms, or the hurricane. So you got to ask yourself this question: what do you do when the rain comes or
Right.
occur?
Oh,
What do you do? What's your reaction to the rain?
Listen, because sometimes it's hard when it's raining out there, and you be like, I'm taking cover.
Right.
And you run for shelter. You leave everybody else out there.
Right.
And you be like, I'm running. Like, y'all better get to shelter. But if you can't see shelter for both of y'all, something wrong with the picture.
But the reaction. But what are some of the things that people do? Where do they run? Who do I run to?
Ooh, who do
Where
you run to? Don't
What's
run
your
to
reaction?
mama. Don't run to your girlfriends. Don't
Right.
run to your sister them who having a bad relationship and all
Yes.
she gonna do is give you bad advice. Don't run to your neighbor who got 4 baby
Right,
daddies over
right.
there. I'm not talking
Or
about nobody.
Facebook.
They got 4 baby daddies. And don't go on Facebook and tell them all your business and then everybody chime in on
Right. Mm.
your relationship. And then they telling you what you should do, and then you decide to do the opposite, and you out here looking dumb.
No, but then you say, "Get out of why everybody in
Why
my
everybody
business?"
in my business? Oh, people do that all the time. Like, why everybody in my business?
Because you put it on
you
Facebook.
put them there.
You put it out there. Why
You
do
put
people,
'em in your
why people
business.
all in my business talking about my man? You
Oh,
told
don't
us all-
chime in. This my Facebook page. The Facebook is open to the world.
Yeah.
If you put your business out there,
It is-
you better expect for somebody to
Yes,
chime
it
in
is
on
public
your business.
domain.
So yes, do your reaction to who you give that advice to and who you allow to give advice back to you is very detrimental in your relationship if you are in a storm.
Right. So
Because you don't want nobody else putting holes in your ship.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
not.
You don't want nobody else sinking you and you out here trying
Right,
to
you're trying to get out of
make
that
it
hurricane,
to cover,
right.
you know, and somebody out there like, oh,
Yeah.
he ain't no good. He a piece of crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Y'all ain't
yeah.
gonna make it. Oh,
Right.
she a ugly girl anyway. You shouldn't have been with her anyway. She got control issues. He
Mm-hmm.
this, he that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. Especially if you're trying to make it to land.
Absolutely. And what do? Do you trip when there's a problem? Do you shut down when there's a problem? What's your reaction? Do you clam up? How do you respond? What do you do? So we have to grow. We have to become better and really consider our responses to
We talked
these
about that
storms
last
and,
week,
and
too.
rain that we have to
We talked about that last
endure.
week about people that clam up or
Yeah.
people that shut down.
or be dramatic, just go crazy,
Ooh,
you know,
that's
or,
even worse.
or be angry and just reactive. But we got to become more proactive and ask ourselves, if you're out there and if you're married or even if you're single, look, ask yourself, how do I react to conflict? You know, do I always have an emotional response? Do I get angry? And am I so hurt and bitter by every little raindrop
And-
I trip?
If you don't know how you react to certain situations, look at your kids. They'll tell you.
They will.
Because you will find them behaviors right in them.
We're guilty.
Okay? If you don't know how you behave in certain situations, deny your children and see how they trip.
Yeah.
See how they behave. Oh, that's you. That's all you. Cause it's me. I didn't seen it in my child. Like, oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I probably. Ooh,
But you have to be
do
self-aware.
I do that? Oh,
but that takes
God.
a lot of humility and self-awareness.
Like I need to fix that
To
in
know,
both
right?
of us, cause that's not good. She gonna drive a man crazy.
right.
You know. But we have to fix those things, and we have to be willing to recognize those things. Because if we be like, oh, that's not me, I don't behave like that. If your husband telling you, you always do this, you disrespectful, you talk like this, you do this, and you like, I don't do that. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You disrespectful.
Too
Own up
talking
to
all
it.
that trash.
Like, you got to own up to it. You disrespectful. Sis.
Yeah, we reproduce, you know, and that's what happens. So we got to ask ourselves, how do we react? What is our response when our buttons are pushed?
Oh.
Or not even our buttons are pushed when we have to, because some people actually don't even want to deal with anything.
With anything.
It's like you have to
Yeah.
learn how to stand the rain.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to communicate.
Because some
we
people
have to learn
really
how to
think
deal with
it's gonna
conflict.
be like
right?
roses and,
Yeah.
and sunflowers and butterflies.
And it could be
like,
great
all the time.
It could be amazing, but it takes time, understanding, knowledge, maturity, a plethora of things and behaviors and character to actually get to that point.
Right.
But we got to grow up.
Yeah, I agree with
You
that.
know, we
yeah.
got old
I'm
doesn't
guilty of
mean
that,
wise. So mature. Old just means old.
Just means old.
you know,
And I hate
so
when
we
people
have
say
to
that,
grow.
like, oh,
We
they
gotta get
old,
better,
they
right?
old and wise. No, because I seen an old lady on a video earlier. I was telling Steve about it, and I was like, this lady like 60-something years old, and her daughter is videoing her giving relationship advice, and she is absolutely wrong.
Wow.
You know, like if your husband know you, if you dating a guy, he don't know what you need, then something wrong with him. And I'm thinking to myself, ain't nothing wrong with him. He don't read minds. How he supposed to know?
Right.
If you don't open up your mouth, I should never have to open up my mouth and tell my man what I need.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, you should, sis. Because
Yeah.
he don't read your mind.
Right.
He
right.
doesn't know how you feel.
And
He
there-
doesn't know what you want. Now, if
Yeah,
he
that's good.
happens to have an inkling
right,
of
right.
what you want, because maybe you've said it a time or two,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story. But he's not supposed to know everything about you and what you want. Like, oh, she want this, she need this. Like, no, not if you haven't communicated those things. He not gonna just know.
Right.
He not gonna
And women
just
expect
know.
us to be mind readers. And I know that it all boils down to this 4-letter word is care. And the other one is consideration.
Mm-hmm.
We understand, but we don't read minds.
Nobody, but nobody does.
We don't
right?
read, you know,
Except
we
for that
don't
one
read minds.
psychic. What was her name? Cleo? Where's she at?
Oh, back in the day?
Cleo. She
Oh,
can read
Cleo
minds.
was paid back in the
Yes,
day.
Cleo can read minds.
Right.
But yeah, as spouses, I don't know what Steve needs all the time.
Right.
Like sometimes he has
You
to
know what
tell
I'm going to
me.
need later on.
Shut your mouth. Shut your doggone mouth. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know his every need. And that's
Right,
false
right.
expectation
It
to
is.
put that much on a person to
Right.
think that they supposed to know what you need all the time.
Right, right.
That ain't true. Like, that's false.
It is false.
I will never know what he need at every second of the day. The other day, he had to tell me, like, man, you used to serve me so much. Like, man, I would love for you to bring my food to me. Like, you
What's up
know.
with that? 15 years in,
Listen,
now you slacking?
I have slacked. And I was like, we were sitting in the car and I was like, you know what?
Because that's
Now
my
that you say
that's
I
my
do
love.
realize
That's one of my
I haven't
love
made you a
languages.
plate.
That's one of my love languages, and that's acts of service.
Yes.
That's because I'm a giver.
But that's because
you
the
know, and
roles
that's
have
the way I
switched
like-
a little
yeah.
bit, you know? And Steve has become the chef in the house because he's on his little vegan thing and he's been preparing the food. So he doing his thing and I don't think about it because he didn't cook.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, every man for themselves.
yeah.
And that's just how
and
it
it's,
goes.
it's fine. It's and it and that's not an issue. You know,
No, it's not.
It's not an issue.
But I would never have known that, hey, Steve want me to make his plate.
yeah.
I didn't think about making nobody
no
plate,
hot
okay?
dogs. Who
My
wants some
kids
hot
old
dogs?
enough to make their
Put
own
some-
plates at this
put
age.
some chicken nuggets in
I'm
the
just
air
happy to be
fryer.
able to sit on the
Nah,
couch, eat my
man.
own food without nobody asking for a bite, and have a sip of my own wine without feeling like somebody gonna knock it off the table.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I haven't thought about making Steve's plate, but when he brought it to my attention, I was like, you know what? You are absolutely right. But had he never brought it to my attention, I would have kept just going on, making my own plate and sitting myself down at the table and eat my own food.
Absolutely. And just a
I'm
couple
just saying.
more. They need, number one, in order to survive, you need to have a good, a solid perspective.
Uh-huh.
You need to check your reaction.
Uh-huh.
And also, you need to be prepared. We talked about that earlier. So
Yes.
you got to be prepared. So you got to know yourself, what you're getting into, who you're getting into it with, and where you're going. So you got to have knowledge about all this stuff. You know, at least grow. You know, we're forever growing. So you need to have a growth mindset and be a student with each other to help understand one
And
another.
know
right?
that even the finest cars need tune-ups.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to go get yourself a tune-up every now and again. Like
Absolutely.
to go get yourselves a tune-up
Absolutely.
every now and again, because you can't drive a car until the oil runs out and then that's when the engine blows, right? Or
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you're giving yourself a tune-up every now and again, every 3,000 miles.
Yeah, you got to
right?
prepare. Yeah, you
And
have
you
to
gotta
tune yourself
prepare,
up.
yes,
And
to
also,
the
last one, and we're going to dig into this one soon, is your social circle. You got to have a solid
Ooh.
social circle.
that's good.
And that's a whole date night in itself. You know, because if your circle ain't solid, you probably won't be solid, right?
Oh, that's true.
Right? You're going to
You
say
are
yes
who
to
you
something.
hang with.
If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
Right. So number one, what would determine your survival is you got to have good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You got to ask yourself, how do you react? Right. When
Yeah.
these storms or rain comes, you got to be prepared and you got to have a good social circle.
Oh, I wanna be the one to hold you close. 'Cause you're the only one who bring me